All right, we're back at it again, an all-new episode of the Tall Can Audio Podcast, for real this time. It was a late night here on Monday night following the recording session that yielded no episode. If you want to hear all the details on that and why there wasn't a Tuesday morning episode, you can scroll down just one thing. We didn't call it a full episode. It was just an update. We posted on the podcast feed, but essentially technical issues on my end lost an entire episode. So we're back at it. I promised we would try and get a couple things done this week to make up for it. We have come through. More accurately, our buddy Andrew Stoeten has come through. He's going to pull my ass out of the fire here and allow us to talk a little Jays. When Rob was in here, in that lost episode, we talked a lot of baseball, right? The first 10 games of the season. Jays coming home for the home opener at 6-4. Lots of baseball talk, and it's gone. So Stoeten's been kind enough to offer to step in here, and he'll talk some baseball with us. There was lots of hockey talk on there as well. Lots of talk about the UFC buying WWE. All kinds of stuff on that episode. We're not going to get to all of that again today as we kind of move through. Some of it we'll just let go. Some of it we'll maybe circle back to. But for today, it'll be baseball with our buddy Andrew Stoeten from the batflip.ca. You can give him a follow on social media at Andrew Stoeten. All these links will be in the show notes, as always. We are on social media at Tall Can Audio. Hope you're following along there, and hope you're subscribed to the podcast. With that, let's bring him in from the batflip.ca, a guy who was good enough to step in at the last second and pull my ass out of the fire here. Andrew Stoeten's back. What's going on, man?
Not much. I definitely was not sitting on a patio earlier today.
It happens. I get it. It's a nice day, right? What's the temperature in Peterborough today?
It got up to 22, I believe.
Hey, all right. Yeah.
We had a great time.
17 in the nation's capital right now, but we're calling for 25, 27 later in the week, I guess. So that's downright balmy for us.
I like to feel that Peterborough is the nation's capital.
Oh, okay. Well,
but
sure.
We have no claim to that. But
I appreciate you doing this, man.
Thank you.
But why don't we start just, we'll talk a little bit about everything that's gone on here. We're 10 games in. They're back from an interesting road trip to start it off. But why don't we start just with what's about to happen? They're having the home opener over the last week or so. We've finally, you and I've talked about it a couple times over the winter. We've now finally got to see what these renovations look like, what the bar looks like. Is it sort of what you envisioned? Is there anything there that's caught your attention that you'll be anxious to go see, or where are you at with what the renos look like so far?
Well, and like you say, we've talked about this a couple times, but I thought that perhaps Brandon Belt would be able to make contact with a baseball and maybe hit it over the fence at one point, because they've been moved in and they're kind of like ideal for a Brandon Belt-esque power hitter.
Should he ever make contact?
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's going to happen. Yeah. But no, I have friends around, and I know people who are going, and people are asking me if I'm going, and it's like I'm kind of the guy who I want to sit in my seat and watch the baseball game. But playing $70 and playing cornhole and drinking $20 beers, okay, that sounds fine.
All right, so you don't seem that excited about it.
I mean, look, it looks great. It looks better, and like the outfield, as I'm sure you know, like for years, like or forever, like it was just dingy. There was like one usher for two sections, and there was an overhang for all those outfield seats, and they got sold. And I've sat out there myself, but they got sold, like especially during the glory years, because there was they squeeze seats in everywhere.
Sure.
They could. But that was a bad place to watch a game, and like to have that kind of like to have the outfield seats, be able to see the sun, for example, and also like to have the seats go up to the fence. I think that's great. I'm over under on when somebody gets arrested for yelling at a opposing reliever.
I was just going to ask you, man. Yelling might be the least of it. Are we getting through the seventh before there's a beer down there? Yeah,
like other stadiums have that. And I'm not going to say that like Toronto is more menacing than Denver. I don't know. We don't really have that kind of relationship between Denver and Toronto. But like, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about it. And I think that the Jays, Mark Spiro will talk about like, the opposing relievers may not like this very much. Yeah. But Yeah, because people might be throwing beers at their heads.
Right.
Like,
on opening night,
like
especially.
right there.
Right? Like, yeah. It's always kind of crazy down there on opening day. And...
or also like, well, and I think I've written about this, or maybe we talked a bit about it as well. But also, like, imagine 2015. Imagine Sam Dyson warming up. Like, there would be arrests. I mean, a guy threw in 2016 playoffs. The guy threw a beer can, a piece of shit. We all agree, but like, it's a powder keg, and that's kind of like they don't talk about it. Like, if you watch the broadcasts, like Arden will talk to Kevin Kiermaier, and then they were talking about like how fun it's going to be, what the atmosphere is going to be at Rogers Center, which is great, which is insane and very fun and different than, I'm sure, the home opener in Tampa or even Arizona, or even like opening day in St. Louis. I was just like, wow, where's the sense of menace, the undercurrent of because like there is an undercurrent of menace that goes throughout that stadium.
The field of disaster could be right around the
now
corner.
They brought it right up to the opposing relievers. I mean, I think it's a way better design for a ballpark. I think it's going to be great. I think they're lying when they say that it's going to play neutral.
Yes,
but but they may need some security down by the bleacher seats that they're letting be first come first serve, who are going to be literally on top of the opposing relievers, which is fine, which is fun to the point where the beer cans start getting thrown, right?
Well, speaking of those, man, I saw Blue Jay Hunter tweeted out today that some craft options finally making their way into the stadium. I know that's not really your scene, but it got me pretty excited. Some options.
I'm currently drinking a Tiger, so I don't think that's craft. But
some Bellwoods in there, some Henderson in there, some Muskoka in there. I'm looking forward to that as well. So. They got 10 games behind them. An interesting road trip. Kind of played the cards tight, but then took 3 of 4 against the pretty terrible Kansas City Royals, and then a hell of a finish in Anaheim. Have we learned anything yet? I mean, obviously, all the caveats that go into it. That only 10 games in, small sample size, all of that stuff. But was there anything that you saw over the first little while that you really didn't expect to see? I mean, Berrios wasn't great. I'm not sure that's shocking. It's concerning, but it's not shocking. I expected that. Yeah. What like little things like that? Anything catch your eye on the road trip?
I mean, I panned the Kiermaier signing from day one. I think we've talked about that too. Like, I did not understand that and thought like, oh, once you trade for Varsho, that should be your center fielder.
Yes.
And look, Kiermaier is not going to be as good as he has been, like if you just look at his track record in terms of hitting, but like just seeing him do the things that used to hate him for doing when he played for the Rays has been very fun.
Sure.
I'm not gonna lie, and I've tried to talk myself out of liking Kevin Kiermaier because of the Rays thing.
Yeah,
but like dribbling a ball into center field and like stretching into a double, amazing. I feel like I might have been wrong.
Yeah, well, 10 games in, it looks like you might have been wrong. In a week, we may feel slightly different, but no, you're right. It was a perplexing signing, but the things we've seen here early on have been pretty encouraging. So I like that. I think Dalton Varsho's made a nice impression off the start.
That's right. Yeah.
Couple of infield bunts or bunt singles that are always I don't know. That's kind of fun. He's actually making contact with lefties a little bit, which I'm not sure I really expected.
The bunts are against lefties.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Why not?
Go for it. Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. What did you make of? They're coming home 6-4. It kind of looked like it was going to be 5-5 on Sunday. Do you enjoy a game like that, or is it a little too much? Like, to me, it was fun. Obviously, you're down 6-0. You come back and tie it up. That's great. But then you blow a 4-run lead, and you got Trevor Richards going for you in a save situation. Like, that was quite the game.
Yeah, like as you drew it up, like I'm thinking like I can enjoy a game like that in April. I would not enjoy it in September, but then also I didn't enjoy it in April either. Like Trevor Richards versus Mike Trout. It's a nightmare. It was like my heart was going. Like, it was insane. And then You have to bring in Meza. Meza against Ohtani. He did well. Meza is not necessarily my favorite of the Blue Jays relievers because I don't think he can get right-handed hitters out. And they got it together. It was wonderful entertainment, is what I would say. But I hated every minute of it.
Well, and every bit of it as a broken Toronto sports fan, right? When Kirk misplays the pop-up behind, in fact, you're just like, oh, well, here we go. This is like you were out of it, and now you're going to get burned, right? And somehow, got another shot at it and got out of there, man. But that felt like one of those games where it's just the end of one of those road trips. It's just kind of going to get away from you, and yet they pull it out. I don't know, how much do we... Is character a thing in baseball, right? Is this one of those things that builds team morale, or is that overplayed?
Maybe. I mean, honestly, like, don't want to keep being nice about Kiermaier because I hated him for years. But I don't know. He was talking about like the plane ride's going to be obviously the plane ride's going to be better. They're 6-4 instead of 5-5. Like they pulled that out. They shouldn't have had to pull it out after they win the league in the first place. But Romano's going to blow up every once in a while, and I don't think there's anything like too concerning about that, right? Like Romano's velocity was fine, like his command was just a bit iffy, but that the whole game was insane.
Yeah.
And really would have felt bad, and would have known better than to feel bad, but still would have been like, how do you not win this game? Because they had so many chances to do it, and then also had so many chances to blow it, which was like, man, Trevor Richards versus Mike Trout, and you get away with you get Mike Trout out, and and it doesn't work. Kirk drops it, and you have to go like. Man, Trevor Richards only has so many chances to get Mike Trout out, right?
That's it. You did not the fact that they away with it.
Yeah, they did not. They did not. They absolutely didn't. And it's weird. Like the whole strange trip was bookended by wild games.
Yes, true. We've seen Alek Manoah was the guy who pitched the first one, and that was quite the outing. But we're going to see him again now in the home opener. Anything noteworthy out of the fact that? I don't like. We've seen him get amped up maybe a little bit too much sometimes. I don't know if you buy into that theory. In the playoffs last year, then we saw opening day. Maybe he was a little over anxious. And now we're going to see him at the home opener, right? Is there a worry that this is a guy who maybe gets a little too juiced?
Maybe, but also I think that it's probably. I don't know. He's probably going to be your number one starter. He's really good. And, happy to have him start a game in April where he might get more, figure out how to compose himself on the mound in that way. So I'm not, I think, yes, you're right. That is maybe a bit of a worry because you're right. Those examples were not great.
No.
And I mean, his start in the playoffs got very overshadowed by, I don't know if you remember the second game.
I have a vague recollection.
Yeah. Oh, I sat in the fucking plastic seat in the 500s with my friend who
I forgot you were down there.
My buddy Bo, I love Bo, but he's like, just the whole stadium could feel what's gonna happen. It's like they're still ahead, and you could just feel it shift. You knew what was gonna happen. But then Bo, God love him, was just like, why do I pay these people this much money? What the fuck am I doing? Why am I buying season tickets? And the whole time you're just sitting in a sweaty plastic seat that sucks. There's a kid to my left who was a Mariners fan, and
oh no.
At one point people were kind of roasting this kid, and he got really happy, rightfully so. But it was kind of like, oh no, this
don't hit the child.
Like,
don't hit the child.
Well, nobody's gonna hit it.
No,
but it was just like it was like it. I've watched like 60 games in 2006 or 7, or maybe both, and that was the worst fucking Blue Jays game I've ever been. It was such a nightmare, and just so. I don't even know what the point is that I was trying to make before I started down the rabbit hole of how nightmarish that was.
Well, then Manoah got a little amped up in the playoffs, and it got overshadowed.
Right, and I think that thank you. But I think that's like I think that I agree with myself from before I started to lose my mind about thinking about that fucking second game against the Mariners. Like, no, like there are. It's like, oh, this guy's a winner. This guy. It's like, yeah, he's pitched 2 years or whatever. Like, I think he should learn to get amped up, and I think he can be very good. But yeah, if those moments kind of make him lose the center a little bit, get him into those games. And I think that like him pitching in the opener, good or bad, I think it will help him.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Be better when he's going to pitch in game one in the playoffs. The Blue Jays are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
they have too many playoff teams. He's going to pitch game one in the playoffs. So make it weird for Manoah.
They always talk about,
and I think he'll respond. Like, we love him.
Yeah, well, they always talk about, I can't remember the exact phrase, but you'd rather have to reel in somebody who's like over aggressive than try and get someone excited who revs too low, right? So I guess it's good that this is in him, and maybe it's just one of those things you have to learn to harness. And he's going to have some of these opportunities now. It should be a vibe.
Or a guy who keeps throwing it in the middle of the plate, his fastball, even though we paid him $100 million.
That has been a problem.
Can't stop just throwing straight fastballs that get destroyed.
So we're past just giving him the Puerto Rico thing was a different catcher and a different staff. It was, don't worry about that.
Wanted to believe that.
Yeah.
Wanted to believe that.
We all did, I think. I actually wanted to ask you about Kikuchi because we've seen him have his first start actually pretty good, and then the second one, it sort of depends on how you want to look at it, right? Some of the advanced statistics say maybe he didn't have too bad of a start. He did stick around in the game for a while. What have you made of him through 2 starts here?
Yeah, I wrote about this a bit, but like, and I acknowledged, I think through the piece that like I'm not, it's lipstick on a pig a little bit. Like, it was not a great start. Mm-hmm. You give up 3 home runs. Not great. No. But like the Ohtani one was, Ohtani's just a freak.
He does that.
Mike Trout. Mike Trout also, the guy who was an obvious Hall of Famer, like 3 years into his incredible career. Whenever he's healthy, he's so good. Yep. Like the Angels and that's the thing. Like the Angels have nobody else. So if you're giving up home runs to Hunter Renfroe or Logan O'Hoppe, it kind of like takes away from the narrative that maybe you did okay.
Sure. Yeah.
But like I think there were positive things there for sure. Like all spring, like his results in the spring were good, but it was like all the runners on base were from walks. Nobody was getting a hit off him because his stuff is really good. Mm-hmm. And also the spring, so it's probably garbage hitters up there. but no, the fact that he's not walking guys, I think is like the most important thing. And if he's able to continue this, and that's like, that's such an, anybody who's watched the Blue Jays over the last 2 years, like, yeah, it's a crazy if, like, yeah, why would you believe that Kikuchi is going to be able to do this? But he's a good guy. He's a good pitcher. And I think I was saying this on my own podcast the other day. Like, people forget, like Robbie Ray, which is the weird comparable with Kikuchi, which, we're way past that. We're like, can you just please be good enough to be a starter? Nobody needs a Cy Young, but like I think that was what the Blue Jays thought when they brought on Kikuchi. They were like, this is a guy throws from the left side, throws velocity from the left side that like starters don't do. You don't see a lot of lefty starters who throw 97. And I think that, I think they had ideas about, they tried to like move, like, oh, you have a cutter and a slider. Why don't you go in between and make that a different pitch? And like Robbie Ray was like a 2-pitch guy and like used a change up against righties. And I think they kind of thought that was what they could do with him, which seems absurd now, but also like, I don't want to be like, man, like we can listen to this in 4 months and be like, wow, Stoeten was like thinking positively about Kikuchi, which is insane. but like, I honestly, I think that can still work. And I think that the fact that a lot of people forget that Robbie Ray pitched for the Jays in 2020, signed very early as a free agent, had the whole off season, had the whole spring training, obviously like COVID shut the season down, but was able to work, with what the Jays data was telling him and what the Jays wanted to make him do, in a way that like we forget, like Kikuchi only signed in like mid-March last year because there was the lockout and the short spring training, and yes, he pitched for 6 months with them, and I'm really grasping at straws, but I'm trying to be positive about it. But I think that maybe having the off season and working on the things that they want him to do could be helpful, and could unlock something with him. And so I'm not as much. I'll put it this way: and this I feel insane, but I'll put it this way: I'm like maybe more positive on Kikuchi than Berrios.
I was just going to ask which guy was going to rebound. Yeah. Oh, my.
Yeah.
That fills me with all kinds of feelings, man. And I'm
Doesn't
not
it?
sure.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
The two of them are, I guess, lined up to face the Rays, who are currently just smashing everybody at the moment. So that could be
everybody, i.e.
everybody who's been put in front of them.
The A's and the Tigers, and
yeah, we're going to get our crack at the Tigers here. I don't know what happened.
No, I'm not ready to acknowledge that the Rays might be really good.
The Tigers actually, like a couple years ago, looked like they might be on the brink of something, right? Had some young guys, went out and got Javi Baez, like maybe they'll be okay. And then they're just terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the Javi Baez might have been a red flag. No, it's weird. And they've had so many high picks, and Turnbull, we'll see how that goes. And
I don't know. I just remember
wonderful ballpark.
Yep, true. Yeah,
go to Detroit. It's a fun town. Have a hot dog with beans and onions. It's fun, but I'm not sure.
The only time I've ever been into that ballpark was actually I went down when the Leafs were playing at the Big House there, and they played an alumni game or an AHL game or something at Comerica now. And I walked up and asked for a hot chocolate, and she said, loaded or unloaded? And I was like, well, loaded, right? And she didn't even measure out a shot. She just tipped the bottle up and like I like this place, right? Like, this is a cool place to see hockey.
You mean the United States?
Yeah,
because, there's a bit of free pouring that happens there.
No doubt, man.
Yeah, Tigers are garbage, obviously. I don't remember the other team. The A's or the Rays played the Tigers, the A's, and some other garbage team.
Right.
But also, they've been really scary good, and not even just that, they're banking wins.
Yep.
Which is a team that a lot of people predicted to finish third in the AL East.
Well, and this is exactly what the Yankees did last year, right? Where they weren't great down the stretch, but they already had 60 wins in their back pocket, so screw it, right? Like, they all count.
And the Rays pitching is pretty good.
Yep. It's true, man. As we get for this one, we'll worry about them after we get through with the Tigers here, I guess. But as we get set for the home opener then, any other thoughts on what you saw out of the rest of the rotation? I was all over Bassitt after the first inning of the second start and maybe needed to just settle down a little bit because he also settled down a little bit. Gosman's been terrific so far. What do we are you still bullish on this rotation, or is it too dependent still on those last two guys?
I mean, I'd sound like an idiot if I was like, bullish on this rotation right now. But honestly, no. And if you look at Bassitt's last year, I think I wrote about this the other day, but like his velocity was down a bit. It was like it's very easy to, Brandon Belt demonstrates that like it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm just a veteran and I don't need much spring training. It turns out sometimes that's a lie,
right?
But like Bassitt seemed to deliberately not be throwing it as hard as saving his bullets for the season. His velocity's been a bit down. I mean, the first one was insane, and he was like, that's the worst start of his career. And you look at the numbers, you're like, yeah, that was the worst start of his career.
Thanks for doing that here, Matt.
Yeah. But also, I think that, like, if you look at last year, his first 4 starts in April had average velocities below 92, below 92.0, like or 91.8 or whatever. And then it went up. It crept up as the year went on, and he had a great year. So I have a little faith that if that continues to crank up, which it has, like his velocity has not been all that different than where it was last April. I think he'll be fine, but also I may be lying to myself.
Maybe just a slow starter. Maybe alarm bells going off. Who knows at this point?
Also, Berrios had 15 good starts. I mean, you don't want the 15 bad ones, but
yeah. No, I don't.
literally my brain was just like, well, Oscar Zulueta pitched really well in Buffalo. It's like you don't want to start thinking about that. Like the guy you paid 116 or 100 whatever $1 million to.
Yeah, in the second week of April.
Should be better.
Yeah.
Mike Petriello from MLB.com does stuff on Sportsnet. Gets real deep into the weeds of Statcast. He's just like, I don't know what's up with Berrios. It makes no sense. Like his slurve, as we call apparently it now. He painted with the slurve and just cannot keep his fastball from going over the middle of the plate and getting destroyed. There should be a way for that guy to be an effective pitcher. And we know that because he did it for like 7 years before the Jays gave him
plenty of evidence.
And just the fact that it's not happening yet is wild.
Yeah, because you would think some of the same stuff that you were saying about Kikuchi would apply, right? You have the entire offseason, sit down together, figure this out, work through a spring training, and here we are in the exact same situation.
Well, not with Kikuchi. He's very good.
I mean with Berrios. Berrios is the same situation as last year.
Also, no, don't quote me on that. but yeah, no, we'll see. But I've seen people, every Jays fan is frustrated after every loss, but like one of the negative things that I've seen on it that I was like, okay, yeah, you might have a point here. Most of them I'm like, you're an idiot. But one of the ones that they were like, did they throw away the best years of Bo and Vlad on a rotation that is not going to be able to do it? And a part of that I think is Bassitt, and a part of that is because Bassitt was bad in the first start. And I think he's going to be fine. And I was like in the front of the line, cheerleading the Berrios extension, cheerleading the Berrios trade. Turns out, I might not be very smart.
That's always a tough realization. Yeah, well, we'll see, I guess, right? Like it's still early, but it's also a continuing trend. Like it's alarming. You would have liked to have seen at least one or two of those, one of those first two starts be like, just, I don't know.
Not garbage?
Yeah, that would have been ideal. Yeah. Just give me one good one here early on that makes me feel like we're going to be okay.
It's wild. It sucks. He seems like a nice guy. He's clearly like Kikuchi last year was maybe more of this figure, but like, it's like, yeah, seems like a nice guy. But there's expectations. There's
fucking figure.
Everybody knows what your salary is. Everybody knows what your contract is. It must be fucking lonely to be out there and just not be able to locate your fastball.
Yeah.
But also, I completely understand why fans are like, I hate this man.
Every fifth day I hate him anyway. Yeah.
We'll see. And it's one of those things, and this is also just thinking back to the first 10 games of the season, when they lost. Did they lose 4 in a row at one point there? Yeah. Just people losing their minds, which is stupid, of course. But also, it's just like, I don't know.
Maybe just 3 in a row. Actually, the second 2 in St. Louis, and then the first one in Kansas City. But yeah, either way.
You got a schedule in front of you. Interesting. But no, it's just like, yes, your negativity is stupid, but also like, dude, I'm with you. Like, that sucks. Like, you can't. Like, this team can't do that.
No, they need him.
And I think the Bo and Vlad clock ticking is a fascinating thing that perhaps later in the year when we talk, we'll start looming large. That clock is going to start ticking louder because like they're only around for 2 years after this one. You fucked the first 2 years. Like last year, again, I was in the seats, but then missed playoffs by a game. Did what they did last year. It's like there's pressure. Like, man, they have to make the playoffs this year. They have to be good. Yeah. Like if they aren't, where even are you as a franchise? It's going to be an interesting question.
Well,
hopefully one that they will answer on their own by being good.
Well, and Springer's not getting any younger either, right? Like there is pressure. Like you said, this has got to get done. We'll see. This has been uplifting, man.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't want to go on a down note like that, but honestly, it's so early. It's fine. They'll make the playoffs.
Sure.
I think it'll be fine. They're very talented. Matt Chapman has had an incredible start of the season. You know, Vlad is maybe more impressive to me because it, like, if you look at like the contact rates, the strikeout rates, like they look like they're outsized at this point. But like even like Chapman's BABIP is like in the 500s.
Sure.
Vlad's is like 360. Like Vlad's numbers look just more like 2021. It's like I can believe that he can continue to be like this guy because we've seen it before. Chapman is doing a very different thing, which is maybe just we're looking at a 10-game stretch where he's freakishly good. And if he continues to do that, look out. Like, that's great. Sure. I love Matt Chapman. He's going to get paid. Yes. But he in his career has not necessarily been this kind of guy. Vlad has. So I'm kind of more bullish on Vlad. But, man, if Chapman wants to keep doing this, I'm very okay with that too.
Yeah, no, for sure. A couple, Bo as well, been way up there with exit velocity here this year. So at least the guys that you're going to be counting on offensively appear to be up and running here pretty quick, and maybe can help you mask some things until you get this pitching figured out.
Mask all the Berrios starts, where he gives up fucking 6 runs. Yeah. You have to pitch him anyway.
Right. So I appreciate you doing this, man. It's I know it's a busy day. I know I'm sorry I pulled you off a patio, and then we got a ball game coming in, but I appreciate you making some time, man. Help me out a ton.
Absolutely. Love to do it anytime. I will
tell the good people where to find your work again.
Well, first of all, I'll be a little less drunk next time I do this. But the batflip.ca, Andrew Stoeten on Twitter. I'm on Substack. Substack and Twitter are fighting. I love to be caught in between billionaires.
Yeah.
Fucking with
breaking your links.
Livelihood. Yeah. Well, people know me. It's fine.
That's right.
Yeah. But no, thank you. Honestly, it's been good.
And of course,
I'm still thinking about Jose Berrios and what a nightmare that is. Sorry if I sound down now.
Yeah,
sorry if I say
this is what happens when we drink. We get sad, but it's not always about baseball players, but it can be. Right? And of course, I'll remind the good listener as well, the Blue Jays Happy Hour podcast as well, which we'll link to here in the show notes as well. Thanks so much, man.
Anytime, man.
Okay, there goes Andrew Stoeten from the batflip.ca. Always good to talk to him. Like I said, I appreciate him stepping in here and helping to soften the blow of what happened the other day. So thank you to him. Great work all the time. Highly recommend the subscription to the batflip.ca. I'm a paid subscriber. You should certainly consider that. But even if not, sign up for free and get his work sent right to you. Very insightful, always very in-depth, some of the best coverage of the Blue Jays, so we appreciate that from him. We'll wind this one down. My name is Matt Robinson. We are on social media at Tall Can Audio, and make sure you're subscribed to the podcast wherever you're hearing us right now. Enjoy the home opener, enjoy the homestand, enjoy it for those of you who are going down to check out the new dome. All of it looks awesome. Glad to have the Jays back north of the border, and we'll see you on the next episode of Tall Can Audio.
That's it. Not work under these conditions. If anybody wants me, I'll be downstairs at McDougal's. Call the weekend guy. I don't care.